At least 50% of his class has his grade or lower. Is moving towards everything race.
And the police comes and they say, well, we can't do anything. It's
Of course, all opinions are my own, not my employer's.
Period. Hello. It's Wednesday and we are back. It's Pop and Politics. I'm KJ and we're back with the latest in trending news and entertainment. All right, so let me introduce my co-hosts. We have Yana, we have Exandria, Shelly E, and today we have special guest co-host Dr. Lady J.
Hi, everybody.
Yes, so we are excited. Today, again, we have Lady J, who is owner of Lady J Media and What Up Baltimore Radio. All right, so join the conversation by leaving a comment on our Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. Subscribe to our social media so you always know when we post new content. Check out our website at www.metroconservativemedia.com for the latest of up-to-date information. We are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. All right, ladies, let's set it off. Okay, so we are going right into our first topic today. We are starting today off with Lady J's personal experience with getting the vaccine. So just to give you guys a brief synopsis, she got the COVID-19 vaccine as now several weeks ago and did not feel well after getting the shot. So before you share your experience, I want to say we respect everyone's decision about getting the vaccine, and we want people to make educated decisions about their health. So please share what happened after getting the vaccine. What happened to you?
So I got the vaccine August 23rd.
Oh, okay.
August 23rd. And I just got out of the bed about a week ago. From August 23rd.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been, remember when I was texting you all about what happened? So it's been a minute that I've been down. And this is probably like the first week that I'm starting to feel like myself. I still don't have an appetite. So I'm still not really eating. Like I eat a couple tablespoons and then I'm done. So I still don't have the appetite. That's the thing that's lingering around. And it's kind of left me tired, more tired than usual. But anyway, August 23rd, I will not forget the date or time, 2:30.
Okay.
I went in to get my vaccine. I got the Pfizer vaccine. And of course, they make you sit for like 15 minutes. You sit there, you wait, And then I thought I'm at Rite Aid. So if something happened, like all they're going to do is call 911. But, I felt pretty good. I left after 15 minutes. Then about an hour later, my son and I are like, running around doing errands. And I'm telling him that my throat feels like when you go to the dentist and you get your the numbing cream or whatever they do. But I said, it's not my mouth, it's my throat that was feeling like that. And we kind of just brushed it off because my schedule is crazy every day. So it's like I barely have time to really like think because I'm constantly running. So I pushed it aside and went on and did what I had to do. I get home a couple hours later before my show starts. I said, I'm just going to eat really quick because my throat still wasn't feeling good. So I decided I'll just do pasta salad. I took the tablespoonful and I started choking, like choking. I couldn't swallow. Another clue, right? And
what time was this?
This was about 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And my son went out, so I'm in there and I'm just like coughing. I'm hitting myself in the chest. I'm trying to do everything that I can do to try to get whatever it is because it felt like it was stuck in my throat. And I was gargling. I was trying to drink. I couldn't get any water, any juice down. Nothing was going down. It was all coming back up. And after that, like I was so tired after that, I went and just like laid across the bed. So I'm laying across the bed. I go to sleep. I wake up. I do my 8 o'clock show. And I'm trying to talk and get through it. That's an hour. And I wasn't feeling good. I was actually at a restaurant. And the person, we were supposed to have dinner. And I was just like, let's just do the show and get it over with because I can't eat. So Then I do a 10:30 show. So I'm doing my 10:30 show and I'm feeling really disoriented. Like, I'm just out of it. And as I'm talking, the great thing, like I said, social media is great. Sometimes it's not. But it was great that night because one of the ladies on was a nurse. And she watches me all the time. And then because I'm on social media so much, people like you guys, they get to see how you act, how you talk, and they get to kind of know you through the screen. So the viewers realized that there was something wrong with me. I'm still talking.
What did they say?
Well, they were telling me, they were saying stuff like, Lady J, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But when I went back, I could see that I was saying things that didn't make sense. When I was talking. Right. And at one point, I said something like, I don't know my name. I don't know what my name is. You know my name, right? And when I went back, I'm like, okay, that's what they were talking about.
Right.
And then I said to them, I said, guys, I'm just not feeling good. Like, it feels like a ball of cotton is in the back of my throat, and I'm really having trouble breathing. And this lady kept saying, get off live right now. Your throat is closing. And so I was laughing it off, and I'm like, my throat is not closing. And I kept talking.
Could you still breathe at that point?
Hard
I
to
could
breathe.
breathe. It was hard
sounds
to
like you were
breathe.
disoriented, like you weren't getting enough oxygen,
disoriented.
which is why you had the confusion.
Right,
Oh.
right, exactly. I found that out later. But when you're doing shows and your adrenaline is running, it's like you're so focused on the shows. But everybody that was watching me was really concerned, and they were texting like, "Get off of live and go to ER." And then the lady who was a nurse kept saying, "Well, call the on-call doctor." So I did it on the live. I called the on-call doctor on the live, and I was telling them what was going on. But I had to wait until they called me back, which was about 20 minutes later. And it happened to be my primary doctor. So I was telling her what happened, and she said, well, what are you getting ready to do now? And I said, I'm going to bed. And she said, no, whatever you do, go to ER right now. Like, your throat is closing up. Hurry up. And so when I hung up with her, I was thinking, I do not want to sit in ER for like forever. So I started making phone calls, which is another 30 minutes.
Wow.
I'm making phone calls like, what's your wait time? And so, one was 11 hours. The lowest time was 4 hours. So I went to the hospital. They had 4-hour wait time. And as soon as I'm telling you, I know.
So you would not have waited no matter where you have gone.
You are so right.
It's a medical emergency.
It didn't, like I told you, if I wasn't disoriented, I would have, thought about that. But in my brain, I was like, I'm not sitting in there. But she said 11.
Yeah,
I could have done that too. Like, all of these thoughts came through my mind, right?
But you're just not.
It was like I wasn't focused. It was just like, those are the normal responses, And then the short ride, I think the hospital is like 10 minutes from us. So the short ride from my house to the hospital, my throat really started closing and my tongue was swelling. So when I got to ER, there was a nurse at the door and I just kept doing like this. I was like, and on the way there, I'm banging on the seat, and I'm hitting my son like, he like, hurry. And we get there and she said, pull your mask down. As soon as I pull the mask down, she's like, stick your tongue out. And I'm like, I'm trying to tell her I am. And she started talking on her little walkie-talkie, and doctors and nurses came from everywhere, and they just took care of me right in the waiting room. I never made it to the bed or anything else. They made a little triage right there in the waiting area, and I had 2 doctors and 3 nurses working on me. And the one thing they said was, we're going to put a cocktail together. We have to flush this vaccine out of your system, and we have to get the swelling down. Yeah, they had to, because when they looked, they said your throat is it's almost closed. So I ended up spending the night at the hospital. They gave me the steroid pack, 7 or 8 days, something like that. And so I find out that I'm allergic to PEG, which is polyethylene glycol, and it's in the vaccine. And people have severe allergic reactions to that ingredient. Nobody talks about it. I've never heard it before.
No. You were not warned when you went in.
They didn't ask you?
And you didn't know. You
And
never
I
had a
didn't
reaction
know.
to that before.
I've never had a reaction. So,
Now
I didn't know.
have you had different vaccines in the past? Or?
I haven't. And I worked in the medical field for 25 years. Everything that came through, we had a choice about if you wanted to take
But
it.
you've taken like regular vaccines,
Flu
probably,
vaccine or
like
I've had the flu vaccine twice in my life, but of course I had all the kids vaccines.
Right.
In my adult life,
Right.
I didn't do all of the vaccines that came out.
Just to make a note, PEG, polyethylene glycol, is also in Miralax. So millions of people take it for constipation, things like that.
Yeah.
So you probably didn't know that you were allergic to that
I had no clue.
Right.
I had no clue. I found out later on, like my doctor was saying that there's a allergy test that you can take.
Yep.
I didn't know that either. You know, these are the things that, like, the skin test. These are the things that are not discussed, which is why I had reached out to you all. I'm like, this needs to be talked about because I don't want anybody else to go through it.
Do you know how common this allergy is?
Well, it must be quite common because when I went in, and as soon as I said, they said, "Well, what did you eat? Did you eat something?" I said, "No, I had the Pfizer vaccine." Right away, they're like, "Oh, she's allergic to PEG. This is what it is." You know, it was like right away.
Did they? I'm just asking. Did they say what you were having? Was it anaphylactic shock?
Yeah,
something?
That's what it was.
It sounds like it. Sounds like it.
That's what it was. Wow. So I was in the bed for about 2 days after that. And then I had a day when I just felt great. I felt like myself. After that, it just went downhill. My heart rate had dropped. Like it was just down in the 50s for days. My heart rate is never in the 50s, like never. And I was just feeling so exhausted. I was having like the body aches, the pains. And I thought, well, maybe I might have COVID. So I got the COVID vaccine. It wasn't COVID.
You mean the test?
The test. I'm sorry. Yeah, the test. The COVID test. And, you know, no COVID. So.
I mean, the vaccine basically affects the person as if they're having COVID.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
But then she said they flushed it out.
Yeah, and also because you had the anaphylactic shock and reaction, your body could have been in recovery mode too.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not your medical doctor. I'm not a medical doctor, but your body could be, you know, bouncing back, recovering in this kind of push and pull state. That's what I compare it to. I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling better. I don't feel like 100%. Like I said, I'm still tired, more tired than usual, but I still don't have an appetite. Okay. Like I still don't.
Did your doctor explain to you what you can do now to recover from this and how long it will take?
Basically, when I saw my primary doctor, she said, you know, you have to let it work its course, basically.
Okay.
It's not really anything, you know, they tested me for COVID. I don't have COVID, don't have a cold, don't have the flu. She said that, and she told me, you know, still, even though they flushed the vaccine out, there still could be things that is still working its way out of my system, you know? So,
but so now and I don't know if you still want to get the vaccine or not.
You
can't get it. Oh, no vaccine.
You had just the first shot.
I just had the first shot.
Can't get it. She has a life-threatening reaction to it.
Oh, so
to
all of them,
letter,
Oh,
I have a letter that I have to carry with me now. Like the medical, I forgot what it's called, but it's like a
medical exemption.
Exactly, medical exemption.
Okay.
And so I have to carry that with me, you know, wherever I go, because I travel a lot.
Right.
And at this point, like I've been to New York a lot. Now in New York, you have to have the COVID vaccine. So to go to restaurants and whatever. So I have that paper now that I have to carry, but I can't get the vaccine anymore.
Right.
But
yeah, talking about that, because one thing you mentioned about New York, and that's something we do want to talk about, because now, you know, we do have a vaccine mandate and vaccine passports going on throughout the country. Several businesses are now requiring the vaccine. We have people resigning, getting fired, who refuse to take the vaccine. For instance, United Airlines is set to terminate 593 of its employees who have chosen not to comply with the company's vaccine mandate. We have Walt Disney World in Florida. They're requiring their employees to be vaccinated by October 22nd. You have the Department of Education employees have filed a lawsuit now against the New York City mayor over their vaccine mandate. And as we've seen we haven't really seen on the news lately, but it has been protests throughout New York City regarding the vaccine mandates in public facilities and restaurants and bars. You have to have a a vaccine passport to enter these places. So I want to go to you, Shelley. What are your thoughts on these mandates and the vaccine passports?
Well, like many people, I am against the vaccine. And as you said at the beginning, we are completely vaccine mandate. Right.
So are you? That's a good question to start you off with. Are you anti-vaccine?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm pro-choice.
Right, okay.
Pro-choice
Exactly.
when it comes to the vaccine. I'm against the mandates. And what these terminations or resignations, firings, whatever word they want to use, what's going to happen is people like that took care of Lady J and other skilled people in their professions, they're going to lose their jobs. So there's going to be this vacuum of people who are unemployed, skilled workers, skilled workers, and even some lesser skilled workers, but people who are professionals and have skills and experience that are not going to be available to provide the services and the care, particularly in the medical industry, in the midst of a pandemic or a scamdemic, as I like to say. So in this midst of it, these gaps are going to lessen the quality of care, even the access to care, because there's not going to be people to take care of them.
Resigning.
Exactly.
Exactly. Hundreds of nurses resigning over this. Doctors, and this is supposed to be a pandemic. I mean, if you really cared about people's lives, would you maybe keep these nurses and have maybe other things that they can do to stay safe against this virus? I mean, I thought we had a chance to test regularly or wear masks. I mean, what happened to that?
But look, nurses and other medical professionals have been caring for people, not just through this pandemic, but if you want to talk about this one, since the beginning, right? Even before it was January 2020, because I know a number of nurses who really believe that it was out in the fall of 2019. But nevertheless, nurses and other staff have been caring for people with just the PPE, right? No vaccines. And now these same people who have been on the front lines, all the hero signs you see up, right? On the front lines, now they are suddenly expendable.
And what happened to
They're getting fired.
What happened to natural immunity? I mean, a lot of these nurses, because they've been on the front lines, possibly had COVID already and they recovered. And I thought that you could go to the doctor and get a note from the doctor that you've been recovered.
Well, interesting about the natural immunity, because it makes the CDC and the WHO and these medical institutions, it makes them even more untrustworthy, because these are the same people that for millennia, right, the medical people, the scientific people who had known about natural immunity, now they want these people to just say, oh, don't worry about it. It's not important. It's not relevant. These same people who work in the industry where immunity, these people they understand immunity or natural immunity.
There's a lot of misinformation about the vaccine. That's the saddest thing, is people could make better educated decisions. Like the effect that you had, I've researched a lot about different side effects of the vaccine. I haven't heard about that particular side effect, and you're clearly not the only one. So if people know that they're allergic to that, right now what we have is this mandate that is telling everybody, regardless of who you are, to get the vaccine. Doesn't matter if you're pregnant. I've heard that certain women's birth controls have adverse reactions with the vaccine. People with arthritis can have a very adverse reaction to the vaccine. They're not saying, like normally when you see a drug on the commercial,
they're blocking that.
Yeah, they're censoring. They're censoring.
There was a group on Facebook that was actually started by people who were not anti-vaccine. They just wanted to hear what people have to say, and people were posting their adverse reactions on a regular basis. It's shut down.
Wow.
And now we just heard that YouTube is going to pull all negative misinformation,
which is all subjective.
Vaccine.
And again, we are not anti-vaccine. We believe that if you are going to get the vaccine, by all means get the vaccine. But we do want people to be educated on the vaccine.
The idea of the anti-vaxxer, that's just all propaganda language. There is I'm not aware of any conservatives that are anti-vaccine.
And that's an interesting point, because there's anti-vax. That was the term that was used prior to COVID to describe people who were against all vaccines.
Yes.
And there were groups, and there's still people who believe that.
Yeah, they are.
But then they're lumping people who are against this this new vaccine into that group. And because we want to know what's in it. It's not. I mean, it's a tyranny for
Or
us
the
not
clinical
to
trials.
know,
And-
not
We wanna
to
know
be
the
able.
Right.
effects.
And even throughout the scamdemic, and I'm not aware of any, but I don't think there has been at least not one case of a medical personnel being a super spreader. As many people as they come into contact with, right? As many people that they have cared for with COVID-19 or Wuhan-19 or any other communicable disease, not one that I'm aware of has been caused or traced back to a medical staff being the super spreader.
And let's talk about the mandate again, because what I think people are missing is, okay, this is a vaccine. This is a mandate. The government is requiring us to do something to our body, a mandate. What's next? And so whether you agree with the COVID vaccine or not, whether you agree with vaccinations or not, do you agree with the government forcing you to do something? And if you don't do it, you are unable to buy goods and services. You are unable to participate in the public square. You can't even keep your job.
Right.
This is major. We have this is at this point, if you are quiet about this, you are really complicit. And you are ushering in a new era of forcible procedures on your
It's really
on your
sad.
children.
I actually had a friend that completely, she hates me now because of my opinions about the vaccine, and because I posted some things that question the vaccine.
Welcome to the club.
And she, I mean, this is a person who was a good friend, and I know, I mean, she lost somebody to COVID, so and it's kind of like she's blaming me or people like me for the death in her family. But I mean, it's really sad, because I don't wish anyone harm.
No.
I actually want people to be aware, and if they believe from everything that they read that it will help them, it's their choice to take it. But then we do not want a situation like what happened to Lady J to somebody.
Right.
I mean, so it's demonizing.
And then
Well, it's also there's.
I was going to say this. My question was, after it happened to me, how many other people has it happened to, and it's not being reported?
Right.
You
It's
never
not
know.
publicized anywhere.
You know, and then they're saying now you go to the hospital, everybody's dying from COVID. It doesn't matter what it is. Everybody's dying from COVID, and it's just. And then my other big question is, I worked in the medical field for 25 years. The Lady J thing is new, but I worked in the medical field for 25 years, hiring, firing, managing clinics, working in hospitals, and there was something called HIPAA, you know? And so I was trying to figure out, is HIPAA gone? Like, is it what happened?
Right.
Because you feel like you have the right to walk up to me and say, did you get the vaccine? I said, that's equivalent to you coming up to me asking me, did you get your GYN exam? That's none of your business.
Exactly.
You know, that is none of your business if I laid on the table and had my GYN exam.
Okay.
So the fact that you feel like it's okay to come to me, that's wrong. And with the president putting it out there like, you have to get this done, that's not his business either.
And not only that, well, that's what I'm talking about. Not only that, but the people the 25% is about 25% of the population that is not unvaccinated. Those are the people that he is saying are evil, are pushing. These 25% are now your enemy. And they are the ones who are the cause to the deaths. Like, for God, you know, unfortunately, your dear friend,
the president of Unity, or the Unity president.
Right.
This is another thing
awful.
that doesn't make sense.
The protest, and also one of the things that they're suppressing is a protest around the country. But the medical professionals are protesting. People in New York are protesting. That information is suppressed. And what's interesting is that in New York, BLM came out saying that they're going to have a big protest because they think that this mandate is racist and that it's bad for minorities.
But BLM, people like them voted for him.
Right.
So I mean, where do they stand? This is madness, and like you
I don't know
said,
why
it's becoming worse.
Somebody like BLM coming out for people to all of a sudden believe them.
Yes,
Right.
One of the other misinformation about the vaccine is the idea behind the vaccine is that if it works, it protects you from having really bad effects from COVID. It prevents
So
you
you
from
should
death.
protect.
It doesn't prevent the spread of COVID. It doesn't prevent somebody. It doesn't affect like
Transmission,
right? There are people that have gotten the vaccine who have had COVID more than once, and they're
and passed it to others.
and pass it to the other. And the idea is that hopefully they will.
So
they'll be
it's a
fine.
medical treatment. It's not a vaccine, and it's ridiculous that they call it a vaccine.
Well,
it depends on the science behind that, how it works on your immune system. But you're right. The two things, it was supposed to reduce the hospitalization or the likelihood that you would be hospitalized if you came down with COVID-19 or Wuhan 19, and it also is supposed to reduce the symptoms if you were to contracted. So those were the two primary goals of being vaccinated. Just like
stop the transmission.
Exactly, just like the goals from 15 days to slow the spread, the goals keep changing.
Well, again, we will continue to comment on this story. We thank God that you got to the medical treatment that you needed and you are here today. So again, I want to reiterate that we respect everyone's decision about getting the vaccine, and we want people to make educated decisions about their health. All right, so join the conversation by leaving a comment on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. Also, subscribe to our social media so you always know when we post new comments. Check out our website at www.metroconservativemedia.com. All right, so we are moving along to our pop-off round. Okay, so this is a round where I ask each host a question. They don't know what the question is, and they have 30 seconds or less to provide a response. So we will start tonight off with this question. Vice President Kamala Harris took a comment from a college student recently while visiting a campus, and I'd like your thoughts on this exchange. The student stated, "But I see that over the summer, there have been protests and demonstrations in astronomical numbers than with Palestine," the student said. "But then just a few days ago, there were funds allocated to continue backing Israel, which hurts my heart because it's an ethnic genocide and a displacement of people, the same that happened in America. And I'm sure you're aware of this." So then the Vice President Harris responded to the student and said, "And again, this is about the fact that your voice, your perspective, your experience, your truth should not be suppressed." So what I want to ask you guys is, was the VP's response adequate? And this question is for you, Yana.
Wow, that was a lot. So let me just understand this. So there was money allocated to the Israel defense system. And
well, actually, the question really is based off of the woman is saying that Israel is basically doing ethnic genocide, and the president responded to her by saying that's your voice, your choice, your perspective, and your truth, and it shouldn't be suppressed. To say that Israel is committing ethnic genocide.
Oh, so was it okay? So the question is whether that was an appropriate response
from the vice president.
Well, no, because I mean they're not committing genocide. They're defending themselves. I mean, I'm not going to go into history of how the country of Israel started, but I mean, what we know, there's two groups of people, and it's an ethnic and religious conflict, where each group says that they have the right to the land. So Israel actually does not want to eliminate all Muslims or all Arabs. They're not saying that. They never said that. There's Arabs and Muslims that participate in the Israeli society. However, the other side, they say that they need to drive the Jews into the sea. So who is saying that they want to commit genocide?
Okay. So okay. All right. Next question. Will Smith was recently quoted in an interview by saying, "It's almost like I want, as Black Americans, for us to change our marketing for the new position we're in. So critical race theory, just call it truth theory. Smith said, "The pendulum is swinging in our direction beautifully, and there's a certain humility that most will capitalize on the moment for the future of Black Americans without discounting the difficulty and the pain and the emotion." So I want to ask, discrimination and racism against Black Americans in the past is well documented. And some people of color argue that this new shift in social, political, and economic policy favors people of color, and it's kind of welcomed. It's sort of a payback from all that has happened in the past. So the question is, do you agree with that contention? That, you know, due to this new environment with social, political, and economic policy favoring African Americans, is it kind of a payback from all that has happened in the past? So this question is for Shelly E.
So I think there's a two-part answer I have to that. Yes, there is a shift. And I think Black people are in a position, or the pendulum has swung in Black people's favor. However, I think it is very naive, to say the least, that Will Smith would say that there's some kind of humility behind it. Because if you look at history, most of the time when people come to power, particularly when they come to power and they are oppressing and suppressing other groups, there's no humility in that at all. So Black people, you think, or whomever, you think that being in this pendulum, being on top of the making the rules or whatever, we're becoming as vicious and as cruel to our fellow Americans as we claim and has been documented that was done to us historically. So there's a two-part. Yes, the pendulum has swung, but we are no less humble about the position that we are in.
Okay. All right. Next one. R. Kelly has been found guilty of federal crimes after 11 sexual abuse victims testified against him. All right. So the question is, do you think radio stations should still play his music, or should he be canceled? Why or why not? This goes to you, lady.
My personal opinion is they should not play his music. That's my personal opinion. I don't think they should play his music. I think that they should let R. Kelly rest in peace, and go ahead and sit in his cell, and think about what you did. So I don't think that he should get a pass, and his music should continue to be played, because what he did was bad. It was bad, and he was able to get away with it for a long time. So now you just need to go and sit down, and we understand your art. What is his real name? His real
Robert.
name?
Robert.
So he's no longer R. Kelly. He's Robert Kelly. Go sit down in your cell and just do whatever all the other prisoners do. Sit down. And no, I wouldn't play it on my station. I wouldn't play it anymore. No.
All right. All right. And the last question is, of course, to Exandria. So we are almost through the first year of the Biden presidency. What policy or issue has his administration done or undone that you feel has had a direct effect on you and your family?
What hasn't he done? Well, one,
Really?
what hasn't he undone, I should say. One, I mean, the COVID vaccine mandates are very real.
Okay.
I think not just my family, like I know I have friends who are dealing with figuring out that situation right now that have messaged me like, oh, I'm going to get fired. One was a healthcare worker. She said, I'm going to get fired from Johns Hopkins, within the month. What is she going to do? I think that has a very real effect. Another one that I do think has another very direct effect is the immigration problem. Because, again, I come from a family of immigrants. And there was a process that they had to follow to get into this country. And even, we all work with the inner city, Baltimore a lot, right? But inner cities throughout the nation are now going to suffer with all of this mass migration coming in, and they're more depleted of resources. They're more, there's just not enough. You can't save people when your own ship is sinking. And America has a sinking ship in all of the inner cities and areas that, we populate and we live in and reside in. You know, I know a lot of that's happening on the Texas border right now,
Right.
but it does flow into areas where, like, you know, family lives. So.
All right. Well, that is our pop-off segment. Please, if you have a question that you would like to ask, please you can email me at kj@metroconservativemedia.com, and I will pose the question to one of the co-hosts. All right. Do we have a comment? Okay, we do.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, ladies. Please educate me. You keep saying that you want people to educate themselves. What exactly do you think you're going to learn from the intrawebs that the top doctors at the CDC don't know? What accurate information would you use to determine whether to get a vaccine or not? Listening to your understanding of medicine and science is hilarious if it wasn't such awful misinformation for the purpose of harming others.
Oh, okay.
Dan Mayer.
All right. Well, he's basically, well, first of all, I don't remember or recall us giving any medical information. We are actually advocating for self-choice and
being informed.
Right. And being informed, which I said several times.
We're not suppressing any.
No,
If
yeah.
You're speaking from person.
I'm speaking from what happened.
This is a
to
personal
me.
experience.
So, I mean, you know, Dan, whoever, it wasn't hilarious to me. So,
Right.
you know, I don't know what you're talking about because it was not a hilarious thing and it's still not hilarious. But I'm speaking from a personal experience, what happened to me, what I went through, what I'm still going through. Nobody here is saying don't get the vaccine or do get the vaccine. It's a personal opinion, but people do need to be made aware of stories like mine. So you know that, okay, maybe there's an allergy test. Okay, I'm going to go and get the allergy test because it's not being talked about. So bye, Dan.
Yeah, that's true. And as we mentioned at the top of the hour, again, we are for all information. We are not telling anyone to get the vaccine or not to get a vaccine.
Like Dan
and
wants to suppress information.
Exactly.
Right.
We are not suppressing anything. We do not want to suppress the top doctors that he's talking about.
Right.
Whatever, let them talk. But don't suppress somebody else.
That's right.
It's your choice.
And
to
again,
learn
this is
what's
what's happening because the president he needs to go take a nap too, because the president is sitting there saying, you know, we need to, you know, it's almost like if I get the vaccine and you don't, then I shouldn't talk to you. I shouldn't be around you. You know, words are being used like you're selfish. That kind of
right.
you know,
evil. Yeah.
This person to list the things that we said that they were untrue that he thinks. So then we can actually check.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll continue to.
Exactly.
So yes, Dan, that's a call to action to you.
Yeah. I just want to add one thing. There are a number of top medical professionals that have been shut down and censored, and their views are not getting out there. They're not publicized.
Right.
You have to dig on the internet. You have to dig on DuckDuckGo to find this information because they don't agree with Dr. Fauci. The point of science as a field is that people argue and dissent in order to come to conclusions. Right now, we're only hearing one side of the scientific argument. There is science on the other side that argues against the vaccine. There's science on the other side that talks about other medical,
reactions?
No, other medical things that are not the vaccine that were used to treat COVID successfully that were cheaper. Don't forget, the vaccine is $1 billion industry.
It's
right,
$1 billion
right.
industry. So-called top doctors. I mean, who put them on the top?
Right.
That's the question.
And again, we are not saying the vaccine is something not to do. Some of us have gotten the vaccine. So again, we are not advocating against the vaccine. We are not advocating for the vaccine. We are advocating for education, education of it, and we're also we are advocating against being forced to take it. All right.
And I would like to say, Lady J, why did you choose to take it?
Oh, thank you for asking that. Dan, listen to this. So this is the thing. You all know my mom is really sick, right? And so my sisters and I take care of her. My dad is just, you know, I think he works for President Biden because he's just like, you know, take the vaccine. Everybody take the vaccine. So I was like the only holdout. I have 3 sisters and they were just like, okay, I'm just going to go get it done. And I was just the holdout. Like, I am not getting this done. So him and I had a really long conversation one night and he's like, you know, well, I think this really is selfish if you don't do it. And I'm like, seriously? So I said, so we don't have these discussions anymore. I'm going to go and get the vaccine. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason I went and got the vaccine. Like I said, I worked in the medical field for 25 years. I started working, or I should say I was out there working when the AIDS virus came out. I'm old, I was out there working when the AIDS virus came out. We weren't even wearing gloves back then. I was given needles without gloves and all this kind of stuff. But we were given an option as to whether or not everything that came out, Ebola, E. coli, all this stuff that came out, we were given the option of, okay, the vaccines are here or the tests are here. If you want to get it done, it's up to you. I was working on the front line. So I'm working with sick people coughing in my face and all kinds of stuff. I never, ever got a vaccine for anything. And I was appreciative of the fact that I had the choice. Yeah. So the fact that he's coming along, this is why I keep saying I'm tired of senior citizens running for office. I'm tired. Because not that I'm tired of senior citizens. I'm tired of them running for office. Because I think that he's tired sometimes, and I just think that he needs to take a nap because he just does too much.
He says what he's told.
Yeah.
He just repeats what someone else
But he's up and down like a roller coaster. At one point, he said, we're good. We're good. We're winning the war. You don't have to wear your mask. Then a couple weeks say, you got to put the mask on.
What about that science?
Yeah.
No. We have to move on. We do have to move on. Okay. So, yes, we will continue to go.
Thank you for that question and comment. Please elaborate.
We will continue to comment on that. And again, we're asking for you to reply, and we'll check that before the end of the show. All right. So we are moving right along to our pop flop. To our actually declared a crisis. Topic two. Our topic two. So our topic two today, next one, is talking about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So I want you guys to take a look at this clip.
Already being the only Black person in this room, and it's not about race, but already being the only one here, have you guys ever thought that maybe it's a little odd for me?
I have, but I don't verbalize it.
If you don't verbalize it, how am I supposed to know? Just because I'm strong doesn't mean that I don't have feelings and I'm not fragile and I'm not trying to fit in. My whole life, I've had to try to fit in.
But you fit in here.
You do fit in. It doesn't always feel like that. I walk in a room all the time and I always have to prove myself. Have you guys ever walked into a room and felt like you're the only one that's different?
Yeah.
Try it your whole life.
I'm really glad you're saying this.
I am too. I think this is so. Thank you for sharing this.
I really am glad that you're saying this.
Yeah. Thank you, Garcelle, for sharing this.
I like seeing Garcelle in this moment, even though I feel bad that she experiences that.
You're brave and you're good. And everything's okay.
Because by letting your guard down and being vulnerable, you allow our relationship to go to the next level.
You just got vulnerable. It was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
How do you feel?
Better. Tonight, I feel like they got to see a little piece of me.
Is it breaking?
The hairdo.
That was really
What?
honest and vulnerable.
I really feel like me being vulnerable and saying how I feel made them see me differently. And I think it was a breakthrough for all of us.
What time is it? It's 11:30.
Oh, wow.
Oh, we need to go to bed. What's happening tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're going to do a sound bath. So anybody that wants to come back and have a cup of coffee or tea at our apartment
Tonight?
Right now?
Tonight?
You're an animal, Kathy.
These girls, they don't know what they're missing. The reason I got a suite was for people to be able to hang out. And nobody wants to come and enjoy it. Disappointing.
All right. So are you guys feeling vulnerable?
I'm
Let's
feeling
just point
nauseous.
out the outfit she was wearing when she said both things. I feel vulnerable, and I feel like they saw a little piece of me.
I'm feeling nauseous. I'm just feeling nauseous.
It was just, the coincidence there.
All right. So we want to talk about that clip, and not so much that clip. We want to talk about basically Are we seeing race being used as an excuse for issues and problems? Is the race card valid? So I want to go to you, Lady J. Let's start off with you.
You really want to know?
Right. I mean, you saw. Well, just speak to this clip. She's saying she can't really. And we're not going to get into the validity of reality TV and things like that. But just looking at, she's saying she's in a group. She's the only African American woman, and she feels like she is not connecting with them because she's the only Black girl.
Blah blah blah. Okay.
Right.
So. How long has this show been on? The Real House. What is it?
Oh
The
my
Real
God.
House.
It's so many different ones.
Long time, yeah.
She works in Hollywood. She's not new to this. So really, what is her name?
Gabrielle Garcelle.
First of all, she needs to cover up because she's too old for that. Second of all, this whining and crying about the race card, girl, you make so much money that you sitting up here talking about the race card when I have to struggle and scrape and try to figure out what I'm going to do. I don't even hear you. Why are you
I think
talking?
it makes some people in Hollywood money.
Oh yeah.
And to me, I feel like she's using it so we can feel sorry for her. I don't.
They're all actresses.
They are actually a successful actress.
No, they all are. They have
she's
not
more successful.
But she's not out there now like she used to be.
Right.
None of them are.
But what I have to say, I had to look. I never watched none of these shows. It's painful to watch.
It really is.
I mean, I had to force myself to watch it. It was so boring. But what I have to, and then I had to look at each individual and see what they are like. Who are these women? Are they married? What they have done for their career? And what I found actually is this lady Garcelle, from what I found, is that she is probably the most successful of them.
No,
I don't think so.
She has been in more movies and more shows that high level shows. I think it was Coming to America and the first one and the second one. She was in.
They've all been in different shows,
but
different.
It was a lot of shows, and
well recognized
compared to the rest of them. I looked at each one. Also, she's an immigrant from Haiti. She's a self-made woman, and so I think possibly she doesn't mesh with them because she's different. She's different in her background. And if she was
I don't.
I think that's BS. Because every person,
saying,
any individual, when you meet a group of people, number one, there are a lot of similarities. They're wealthy. They're in the public light in some aspect of the way. They're actresses. They're phony. They have all this whatever. So you can mesh with anybody or not mesh. Any one of us, we come from different backgrounds. So what? She's the only Black person.
Right.
Suck it out.
I don't think it's based on race. I think Yana said something different.
She is insulting her own intelligence by playing the race card. I would talk to Garcelle, that you're too smart. You probably too smart.
And too old.
This whole clip, this particular clip was phony.
And she shouldn't be using the race card.
Sounded very sincere.
You're so vulnerable.
With the same level of success, they would have not liked her either. Also, she's the only one that is dating, and it's possible that the others are married. It's possible that they're jealous of that.
Oh
secretly.
God, whatever.
These are grown old women.
They're
old women. Okay,
Yana's
go and look at their ages. They're older. They're old women who have nothing to do but sit there and talk about all this stuff. And I don't feel sorry for them one bit. If she's not happy on there and she thinks they're playing the race card, then leave.
Right.
Leave.
Well, I think Yana's
house.
point is that it's not her race that is separating her from the other ladies. There's probably other things, right? They could be jealous of her. There's so many women are petty too, and especially in that show. I was reading, it was a Vulture article and from 2019. They were talking about what these women get paid. Apparently, if you're kind of obscure, you're not well known.
They get a lot of money.
You might be making like $60,000, but everybody else, their salary doubles every year that they're on the show, pretty much. And some of the women on there, they're making $1 million just from being on that show.
They were already wealthy.
Yeah, they're already wealthy. So
now let me ask you this though. So this group aside, if you have any of you or been in a situation where you feel as though your race or maybe your gender, you are one of very few people in this, and you feel like that is making you not connect or you feel uncomfortable because of that? Do you think that is a valid situation?
To be honest, as a Black woman, I'm going to say I probably have experienced that at some time. I don't know how long ago, but I don't know. I can't say that it was only because of my color. You feel odd if you're the only one, but people are people. You get to know people not based on their skin color. That initial, I call it a primal reaction, just looking at skin color. It's like, okay, it's a self-protective mode. But then you go beyond that and say, okay, well, these are just people. Find out there are a lot of women have a lot of similarity just by being women.
Yeah, there was a woman who was Asian. She was the only Asian. Like I didn't hear her saying the same argument.
Exactly.
So you feel like this is so you all feel like this is not a valid argument then?
It is not.
I don't think.
No, I'm not talking about this. Forget her.
Right.
I'm talking about in general, in a situation where you are in a situation. Let's say you join a club and you are the only whatever you are. Do you feel like?
I think it depends on the culture. It depends on where you are. I mean, there's different parts of this country where maybe that would be, an issue if there are people who are truly racist. You know, they're truly racist, and they really do not like you just because of your skin
And sometimes
color.
you just don't click. That's okay.
You could be the non-studious person in a room full of very studious people. You're gonna feel like the outcast. I don't think the race is alone makes somebody the outcast. Like in that particular situation, and I know that we're talking broadly, but like there's a difference between somebody feeling inferior because somebody makes them feel inferior, and then feeling inferior because you make yourself feel inferior.
And, what I have to say, when I looked at these women, if I had to choose, I like her more than the others because I just watched their interactions, and she likes documentaries. She is more thoughtful. What I'm saying is that's why she's not clicking, because the others, I wouldn't want to be around the other ones.
Yeah, we wouldn't click with them either.
Like she has enough money.
I would be friends
Right.
with her.
She has enough money to take her chariot and go home. Like she has enough money to do that.
A chariot, a broom, a pigeon carrier, whatever.
I'm on her side. I'm on her side that she doesn't mesh with them, but not because of the race. Like she needs to reevaluate why is it that she's not meshing with
side
them.
of her. Because wherever I go, and I could be with the president or anywhere else, I know who I am. So you're not going to make me feel inferior or shut me down anywhere because I know who I am. To answer your question, I grew up in all white neighborhoods, and I went to Jewish schools. Now I know what it's like to be ostracized, to not be able to even sit in the cafeteria because they don't want me there. I was at a school that had about 2,000 students, and it was about 3% Black. So those of us that were there of color, we didn't get to see each other. So I was always the only Black person, but I stood my ground. Just because you don't want me here and you don't want to sit at the table with me at lunchtime, and I was like in 11th or the 12th grade, I'm going to sit here and eat my lunch. You can leave if you want to.
Did we have a whole civil rights march for this?
Thank you.
But I think time has evolved, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think
so.
that
Her sitting here with this kind of stuff, like, I don't have time for this.
She's
There are reasons,
but she has a victim mentality. She has all these things going for her,
which means money is not everything.
And she
maybe
they don't like her because she might be better than them in many ways.
Whatever.
Well, one thing I wanted to I want to come back to you because I remember you posted something on Facebook a while ago. You were going. No, I think it was you were going somewhere. I think it was like maybe Tennessee or Louisiana.
Oh, right. I was in Tennessee.
And you said and you were in an area where you weren't very familiar, and you saw something. You saw
the redneck.
It was a truck.
Redneck.
It was a truck that said redneck, and you mentioned you were like, "Is this okay?" Or you were in a situation where you probably weren't
uncomfortable because I am from the north, and up here when you say redneck, that's equivalent to the KKK, to everybody else. And
but it means something different. It's a whole different culture.
It's a whole different thing. People would bring it to my attention.
It's a culture.
Yes.
It's a culture, a subculture, right?
And I walked around. I'm like, oh, so redneck to them
is ghetto to us.
Yes.
Look, we even joke about like across the southern. I have a lot of family in South Carolina. Even across the southern culture, like we joke about rednecks, right? And it's not. You're right. It's not like a racial thing. It's they hunt. They're
Uneducated.
But I think it
could
depends
be
on,
uneducated, but not
on where you
necessarily.
are,
You know,
though,
very
because
country.
up here, when you say redneck, you know, to me, I don't know how you feel. I'm thinking about, okay, I might disappear if I go too far in your community. So, you know, that's what I feel when I think about redneck. That's why when I was in Tennessee, I was like, okay, I'm not going to venture out because I'm trying to get back home. But then everybody was telling me like, you know, no, Lady J, go. That's not what it means. And when I went downtown, and I saw everything, redneck bar, redneck this, and I was like, okay, this is just
a culture shock. It's called culture shock.
Right.
Look,
and it's okay.
In this group, right? You guys are all like Christian or something other, right? You're all more religious than I am, right? I don't feel like ostracized and uncomfortable around you. Growing up, one of my best friends, she invited me to she went to an all-black gospel church, and I used to go with her. I was the only non-white person there, maybe besides one other. I'm mixed, so non-black person there. I mean,
you were the only human.
I was, but anyways, so I never felt uncomfortable. Nobody there made me feel uncomfortable. You know, it's about how people make you feel.
It's about how you see yourself. Like the way I raised my son, and he went to white schools as well. But my thing is, you are an individual.
Exactly.
It's how you feel about you. So you should be able to go anywhere and feel okay. You want to use caution, but you want to listen.
My mother always said they're just people.
They're just people. I don't care. You can have $1 million. I can have 5 cents. You know, I can still be in the room with you.
That's true. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are at the end of our show. First, we want to check some comments and see, do we have any comments in regards to this?
Did Dan?
No, that's an old
I thought Dan was coming back. Dan doesn't want any more of this.
Okay.
Dan.
Okay. All right.
Overall, there's just an overemphasis on race.
Write something
for everybody.
Send us something.
Right. All right. I do want to talk about Declare It a Crisis. That is a campaign that we have been highlighting youth 18 and younger that have died by homicide in Baltimore City. We want to highlight this as a crisis. If you are highlighting or sharing a news article or anything like that on social media, please hashtag Declare It a Crisis Baltimore. Today, unfortunately, we were sharing with you the death of Dante Crawford. He was found on August 27th, around 7:16 p.m., 18 years old. He was shot and he passed away at Maryland Shock Trauma Center. So again, use the hashtag Declare It a Crisis Baltimore. All of this stuff going on, and we still have a lot of murders from youth in our city.
And don't forget to mention, we've had 30 already in September.
Wow.
Not just of youth, but adults and youth.
Okay, adults and youth. Okay. All right. So again, join the conversation by leaving a comment on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. Also, subscribe to our social media so you always know when we post new content. Check out our website, www.metroconservativemedia.com, for the latest in content. All right, so we are actually at the end of our time today. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you, Lady J, for being a guest co-host.
Thank you, Dan, for commenting.
Yeah.
And watching. Bring your friends.
Yes. And T, she is away today. She's on vacation, but she will be back next week. All right. Again, we are an independent media, and each time you subscribe to our YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, it helps make our voice that much stronger. We are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. Okay. Well, we look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.